Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Lessons in Creativity. In this video, I want to talk about how to actually create your own creative path. This month, we went through a bit of a roller coaster talking about getting back to your creativity, how to actually create more than you consume, what it looks like to give yourself permission to try. So now I kind of want to give us the chance to take all of that information and talk about how to actually create your own creative path with that. So this is something that's ongoing, of course, because that's a whole purpose of this podcast. But to get us started, let's kind of figure out what that looks like. So everyone's creative path and creative journey is going to look very, very different. And I think accepting that technically you are the blueprint, with that information, you're able to go into it with a lot more confidence and a lot more assurance in knowing like you have the autonomy over what this looks like. So I think a big part of how you drive that is understanding what your creative genius is. I think a lot of people say this, but in different ways, right? When they talk about what is your niche, when they talk about what is the value that you bring to your audience and blah, blah, blah. I just feel like that information, I really think that information can be hard to grasp. I feel like saying things like, what is your niche and what value do you bring? I don't think that really allows you to get to where you're trying to go. So instead, I'd like for you to think about, what do you naturally gravitate towards and why? What types of art do you naturally gravitate towards? What are the things that just naturally spark your interest in the world in general? It doesn't even have to be in the creative space. And why is that so interesting to you? I think that is the way that you really create your creative genius, because if you're naturally drawn to those things, you're going to want to learn more about them. You're going to want to get better at that, whatever that thing is. And you can speak to that passionately. Like, people know when you are not passionate about something. And I think not speaking for myself, but like other people really struggle with their creative journey because they're doing things that they're not actually passionate about. Like, they're creating around topics that they just think will go viral or trendy or whatever. And it might be a subconscious thing. It's not always a conscious, like, oh, I'm doing something that I don't like. So I think when it's something that you naturally gravitate towards, ask yourself why, and then that will allow you to sift through whether or not you're doing it just because it's relevant, or more so because like you actually have a passion for that thing. And then ask yourself who you are as a person and how can you translate that into your art. So I think what makes certain creators so successful and interesting to watch is because they are able to take the parts of themselves and insert it into their art. You can see whether it's a quirk or a saying or an interest or whatever. Like, you can see that they're actually really passionate about this, and you can kind of see them just like shining through, like their personality shining through. And this is not old YouTube. This is not like 2009 YouTube and social media, like, we're not even 2009, sorry, 2016 YouTube and social media is not 2024 YouTube, social media, etc. Like, you do not have to be on 10 in order to catch people's attention. Like, who are you as a person? Because there's someone for everybody. There's a creator for everybody. Sometimes it is not that person. You don't have to be super out there and loud and punchy in order to get someone's attention anymore. So I think it's just like, who are you as a person and how can you allow that to translate into the things that you create? So I think really this takes some reflection, but sit down and think about it. Like, what makes you you? What are the core elements that make you who you are? And how can you strategically place that in what you create? I'll also say, to kind of add to this point, you don't have to say the quiet parts out loud. Everything doesn't have to be so direct, but you can do it in a way where it feels authentic to you. So if you're funny, but you're a makeup creator, you don't have to tell people that you're funny. Just tell jokes. Like, while you're doing your makeup, tell jokes, or make the editing hilarious and funny with different sounds and edits and stuff. Like, you can kind of take that part of your personality, which is you being funny, and add it to the content that you naturally gravitate towards, which is makeup. So this is a small example, but it's a way that you can do that. Now that you know what your creative genius is, it's time for you to actually create a plan around that. I think people will be on their journey to create this life for themselves and forget that that manifesting is also work. You have to put effort towards it, intention, strategy. That doesn't leave you. You still have to do that. You still have to create. You still have to have some sort of strategy behind what you're doing. Like, you can't just go out there with no intention. So have a plan. Having a plan also allows you to have more creativity and more creative range. For instance, when filming for YouTube or any long form platform, just pressing record and going for it may work sometimes, but other times you may not be able to come up with something on the fly. So what do you do instead? You lean on a plan. So just have a plan. It can be simple as 3 different points. I like to start with 3, a beginning, middle, end, to whatever you're doing, but have a plan. So if you want your end goal to look like, 100,000 followers, let's just say, if that's your end goal, then what is the beginning and what's the middle? Let's figure out a plan for that part of it, because that's just as important. They say that everything you're living right now is a manifestation of what you hoped for or wanted before. And that may be true for some people and may not be true for others, but I think it's true for me in the sense that I have manifested what I've wanted for myself and what I've wanted my life to look like up until this point, yet still now my goals have changed, and yet still I am still working through that manifestation, right? And nothing that I've manifested before didn't come without work. It didn't come without nights where I had to stay up later. And it doesn't always look like that for people too. I don't want people to think that you have to hustle, or like this is one of those, like, if you're not working hard, then you're not going to get what you want. Like, it's not that. It's just having intention behind the manifestation, behind the faith, behind the want to do something. Anyways, like, I've had to go through the ups and downs. I've had to fail a couple times. I've had to not be good at something and then become good at something. So all of that was a part of me manifesting still. So definitely don't forget to have some sort of plan for yourself. If you want to grow on social, you need a social strategy. If you want to have a creative career, then maybe figure out what are the steps to getting to that role that you want, or creating it yourself and being a freelancer. Like, think about the plan as well as the goal. And then lastly, I think a big part of creating and carving your own creative path is testing and learning. I think this is a big thing that I have learned most recently, because as someone who is a recovering perfectionist, someone who is getting used to and getting comfortable with the fact that everything is not going to be a hit and kind of just expecting to fail before you expect to succeed, is the fact that you have to test and learn. You have to test and learn. And this isn't throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks exactly, but it's throwing spaghetti at a bowl and seeing if you can get it in the bowl. Like, it's you just trying things out and testing it. You have to experiment to some degree in order to figure out what is actually going to work for you, especially if you're early in your career, or if you're not new to the journey, but you might be pivoting. You might be trying to break into a new part of the industry or whatever. Like, you have to try a little something different in order to see if that actually works. And it's not only if that works for the algorithm or if that works for your audience, if it makes you money. Like, no, does this work for me? Do I feel good doing this? And can I sustain this? Because everything is going to come right back down to sustainability. And you will see, no matter how big you get, no matter how successful you are by your own measure, it's all going to come down to sustainability. So this testing and learning is your opportunity to figure that out. Also, isn't it great to be able to do that while nobody is watching? That is the gift of starting something new or trying in the beginning. Like, you may not have a lot of people watching you right now. Your audience may not be that big, or you have an audience, but it's not a huge audience to the point where like a lot of people are seeing you fail. And I mean, even if they are, it's like you're trying, you're encouraging somebody else to try as well. So test and learn, because you never know what might do it. You never know. I think every single creator I've talked to, and even myself, some of my most viral content is like things that I did not even think would go viral. So if you think it's going to be a hit, expect it not to be, and you'll be that much better, because it's a humbling experience to think something's gonna hit or pop off and it doesn't, but it's also a learning experience, because you learn for yourself, what you could have done better, what you could have changed, and like just what feels good to you. What if you feel like the video is great, you just need to do more of it? Sometimes it comes down to you need to do this more. So yeah, those are the three main things that I would say would help you to get your creative journey started, or just to pivot. The journey is about pivoting. You're constantly just trying to figure out which way to go. So figure out your creative genius, make a plan for the manifestation, and test and learn. Test and learn. Test and learn. Thank you guys for watching this episode, the last episode of this month. I'm really proud of us for doing it, for getting through the first 30 days of lessons in creativity. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the fun things. And if you are listening to this wherever you listen to your podcast, make sure you rate. I guess I'm still trying to figure this out, but I think rate, share this with people that you think might need this information, and DM me on Instagram and TikTok. I'm very active on those platforms, so feel free to shoot me a DM there. Sid the Creative. And yeah, I'm really excited. Yeah, you got this. You got this. It's just a part of the process, right? Just part of the process. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.